Huh? Dig. Huh? Huh? Dirt.
Hey now, and welcome down to KCToyreviews. We are here today with Anna Marie by SST042. And if you didn't already know, Anna Marie is the alias of Rogue from X-Men. An absolutely delightful surprise by Soosoo Toys. Now, with that said, there are a few small fumbles with this figure. And if you're at all curious what those are, let's go ahead, hold each other's hands, fine comb some of those details, and dive right the hell goddamn in. Oh, he's after me. All right, so here we are again with Anna Marie by Soosoo Toys, a.k.a. Rogue from the classic X-Men show. Now, personally growing up, the cartoon X-Men show was one of the most popular TV shows on Saturday mornings. To this day, that X-Men theme song runs through my head every single time I see a classic X-Men character that's ripped straight from that show. Now, obviously, all the characters in the show were based off of the comic book, but everything from the color palette to the way the costumes were pulled together, the theme music, the actors, and dare I say, some of the grittiness of the show made it one of the best cartoons of all time. But man, when this thing was officially announced, every single X-Men fan out there went bonkers. And we're all kind of building our X-Men collection a la carte, dare I say, because they're made basically everywhere at this point. We have Sideshow, we have Soosoo Toys, who now make a few of the best X-Men figures out there. But we have Colossus with Toys Era, and a few other randoms in between. And I will say, based off the initial observation of this figure, Soosoo Toys did a good job, and I hope they continue any X-Men figure because again, the community will welcome them with open arms. Now, let's pull it back a little bit and start with the accessories. I'm done. Yeah, that's right. Everything you see in shot is all that comes with it, plus the 1/6 scale stand, which I will show off later. But there are no accessories other than a few pairs of hands. But it did come with 2 face sculpts. And dare I say, the second one, which we are about to show off, was a little bit controversial. I think a lot of people made fun of it, and they called it like the old woman face or something. In hand, it doesn't look horrible. I mean, that looks pretty good right there. I don't know what everybody's talking about, but maybe when the hair's on it, it's going to look a little weird. Whoa, almost knocked her over. This one clearly is the superior face sculpt, but let's go ahead and do this together. So we're going to go ahead and it was a little loose. Mine, not that that's a bad thing. It has this kind of cushion here to rest on, but the hair sculpt is very heavy, and the head sculpt as it was a little loose on here. Anyways, all right, so let's go ahead and try this. Take that off, and then we have like a little magnet system on here. So we have this piece, and then this piece. It's almost like we have our own some type of superhero here with the like beams on the forehead or something. And anyways, there's your head sculpts if you want to take a little bit of a gander without the hair on there. But we have the old woman one here, and then the first one that we had in shot earlier. Oh! And look at that. I put it on a popsicle stick. Kind of looks weird, but it also kind of looks cool. How about this? It's like a deadly weapon. The Rogue head propeller. Oh! That was a dumb joke, and I dropped the head. All right. Anyways, let's build this one. The old lady head. My guess is this piece goes on first. Oh, am I doing that right? Yeah. Oh, I want to jam that on there. Oh. All right. Sorry if I'm breathing too heavy or something there. Oh, there we go. There. I mean, this head sculpt is clearly several layers in here. The hair and stuff, obviously they did a pretty fantastic job, but man, it's got some weight to that. But let's go ahead and plug it downtown, come around downtown, up right downtown right now. And I feel like the back piece is coming off. There we go. I felt a little better snap there. There. Yeah, I guess it looks a little weird. It doesn't look horrible, but it's an awfully peculiar head sculpt. Let's leave it at that. I'm not going to bash it. I don't think it necessarily looks like the old woman head sculpt that everybody's calling it, but it is something to be desired. This is not the head sculpt that I would choose out of the two. I think the other one has a much more rogue classic look from the comic/X-Men show. But this just has like a, oops, I left the stove on, or oh, whoops, I dropped my car keys down the storm drain. Whoops, just snorted a line of coke and bought a lizard at Petco. Whoops. I mean, who hasn't done that before? Now, as we start to make our way down, not trying to be a creep here, but one of the first disappointing things that I saw on mine, or right on the boobies there, are these little specks. Now, I don't even think the camera's going to be able to get close enough to those, but what they appear to be are tiny, tiny little rips. And I'm not sure if what's happening is this stretch on this suit here, over the top of the boobie area here. I'm not trying to be a pervert. It's just, what am I going to do? Avoid their boobies. I'm not going to call them something else. I'm not going to call them muffins. I'm not going to call them watermelons. I'm going to call them boobies. The little specks all over here on the boobies are rips. And I think, again, that if you notice, the only spot that it's happening are on top of the boobie area, and that's because there's more of a stretch and a pull to those areas. And hopefully, and I really fear that over time it doesn't become worse. If you take the figure kind of back a little bit, you can't see them too much, but it's a slight disappointment. There's one thing I will always say, whether it's the stand, the figure, something comes wrong with it. When we are paying anywhere between $180 and $230 for these third-party figures, I mean, I do expect them to be damn near flawless. For another $50, you can basically buy an Xbox. Now, with that said, another thing that happened here, and sorry, Soosoo, I'm always very, very honest. This belt was almost like melted onto the figures. I basically just really slowly lifted the belt around the areas, and it stuck to this green suit underneath, and as I kind of pulled it away, it started to slowly separate without any rips or anything like that. But I did hear some of the people in the groups that experienced rips, so I would go very, very slowly, and then I do have some indents. If we can pull it back there, see, there's indents from the belt on there as well, so there's already a little bit of damage there. There's some damage on the boobies up here. Not the greatest feeling to have damage already on day one. I mean, this thing's been out of the box for, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours or so. Next up on the list is just a quick note at the leather jacket. I mean, it's so small. It was almost like a Barbie size out of the box. I was like, how the hell is this even going to fit on her? I'm not going to say that it was easy, but I'm not going to say it was hard. I mean, it was fairly straightforward. Take the hands off, slip it up, and you kind of notch it up slowly on each arm. And it does have a nice, snug fit to it. I will say that it doesn't seem to hinder the articulation too much as well. And of course, we can note there is the nice X-Men symbol on the shoulder there. And whether it's pleather, leather, I mean, I have another video, I've said this as well, there's the sniff test. Okay, that got really creepy. But I have no idea what real leather or pleather smells like, so my creepy sniff test is completely irrelevant to this entire review. It looks good. Whether it's pleather or leather, I would say, depending on your climate and humidity, over time it could decay. But for now, it has a sharp look, and as I mentioned, it doesn't seem to hinder the articulation. And just a quick look as we start to make our way down to the feet area, we do have this X-Men belt. Just a quick note, it is completely sculpted and painted. There's no leather pieces on this belt here. So it is a very hard plastic, hence why earlier when I showed, I think it caused a little damage to the suit underneath. And also a good time to segue and mention, and you do have this kind of plastic center suit down the middle here that is very nicely tailored and kind of brought together with this green piece here. And that green honeycomb suit always reminds me of the Man of Steel, Superman Hot Toys-ish quality. And whether that's a good or bad thing, I think that boils down to personal opinion. But as you can kind of see from the backside as well, all the hemlines, the way the suit is brought together, everything is very nicely done. Has a sharp look to it, very clean. And just a very quick note, as I mentioned, we do have 2 other pairs of hands, so there are 3 pairs total. Swapping them on and off was a breeze, very easy to do. Nice paint application to them, a slight weathered look. I would say the only miss and a very big disappointment is Rogue's powers come from her bare hands. She has to wear gloves or she will absorb the energy of anybody she touches with her bare hands. So it's pretty disappointing that they didn't come with 1, maybe 2 different bare hands Even if it was just on the left hand, in my opinion, it could have absolutely opened the door to a few more posability options. And last up are the shin and the feet area here. Kind of same look as the glove, a really nice weathered look to it. I do like the paint application, the overall look. It does have a nice contrast between the very bright green and yellow vibrant suit in the background. And as far as the ankles go, as you can see, there's a split cut at the bottom here. There is a ball joint under there. So basically you can pivot it left and right, up and down, come around downtown, right down, downtown, come around downtown right now, and do whatever the hell you want with it down there. And as far as articulation, I'd be careful. I would say that there could be a little bit of damage and creases that could add here, but we do have double jointed elbows there, which is nice. You can do whatever the hell you want with that. And then down here, I feel like they are double jointed knees, yet I don't know. It doesn't seem to want to go too much past this point. So maybe they're not double jointed, or something about the suit and the plastic shins here are hindering the articulation, but nonetheless, it doesn't come with a flight stand, so I don't think you're going to be doing crazy bends with the feet there, but I don't know. Seems to be about as much as I can get on the knee portion there. It's a weird flight. Imagine if that's how she flew around. If you are familiar with the Soosoo de toys, well, then you're going to recognize the stand because they are all very similar. And not that that's a bad thing at all, because I think this is a very decent stand. Paint application's nice. We have the X-Men symbol dead in center. And of course, to note, we have a crotch grabber versus a flight stand or a waist grabber on this thing. Now, with that said, again, Soosoo de toys, you have an opportunity here. I've seen it before. Forgive me. I don't know if it was a third party or if it was Hot Toys, but I've absolutely seen makers where they have this stand and it comes with a flight stand and a crotch grabber in one. You can flippity-floppity, get that piece out of there and switch it to a crotch grabber or a waist grabber. And the only reason I think I say that this time is because, well, Rogue flies. It again might be a slight missed opportunity to not include a waist grabber and a dynamic stand with this, but this is coming from the guy that always barks about hating those type of stands, so I'm not complaining. I like the crotch grabber, but it could have added a little bit more for posability options if we could get it into some flying poses. Again, with that said, nice stand, nice weight. I'm glad it's included. We still have companies out there, 3-0, that don't include 1/6 scale stands. 3-0. And of course, before we start to round this out with a score, a quick side-by-side with Gambit by Soosoo Toys, aka the best version of Gambit on the market in a 1/6 scale format. Sideshow, yeah, you guys did a decent job, but something was super weird about the monkey-looking face on your Gambit. Soosoo Toys absolutely nailed it. In fact, I want to say, if memory serves me correctly, I gave that like a 9.2 out of 10. And called it one of the best third-party figures ever made. It still holds up, it looks amazing, and side by side with Rogue, it looks even better with these two lovebirds in front of us. And of course, let's throw in Wolverine and Magneto, and how goddamn cool does this shot look? From left to right, we have Magneto by Sideshow, Rogue from Soosoo, Gambit by Soosoo, and Wolverine by Sideshow. An absolutely incredible X-Men 1/6 scale lineup that I would say looks like that I would say would be a centerpiece to anybody's collection.
Oh no! Oh no!
All right, so there we have it. Anna Marie by Soosoo de Toys. I have to say it is very rare for me to include a stand in the last rotating shots of these videos. I normally don't have a hard time balancing the figures, but I have to note, because it was goddamn annoying, this figure fell over probably almost 10 times. It must be the hair. It makes her very, very back heavy, but it was damn near impossible to get her into any type of action pose and not topple over on the spinning table. Terrible, terrible balance to this figure. You absolutely have to have a stand with this thing or it's going to topple over. And if you have it in a position without the stand that hasn't toppled over, my guess is it will topple over eventually. So, again, as we start to round this out, pretty decent figure. Not too many downfalls, a couple small minor gripes, and sometimes we have to note maybe the little things that I'm seeing on the chest and the boobie area. It's just a quality issue that I suffered with my figure. Crossing my fingers that nobody else has that same issue and you just have a clean yellow look from top to bottom. Next up would be the accessories, and as I mentioned, well, what you see is what you get, especially this shot here. The only other thing you get are 2 pairs of hands and a swap out face sculpt. I'm not sure what other accessories Rogue could have had, but like I mentioned and noted earlier, a dynamic flight stand could have been a welcome sight that included a swap out crotch grabber and perhaps some type of human hand that you could swap out. My guess is it would have been a little bit difficult to bring the transition from the human hand and that green suit underneath, so that's probably why they skipped out on that. As far as what we have in front of us, it looks fantastic. This is Rogue ripped straight from the comics and our old X-Men show. Great articulation on the arms, not so fantastic on the legs, but like I said, not sure I really give a crap on the leg articulation. The suit fits nice, it's tailored nicely. That vibrant green and yellow look to it is very sharp looking. And then you have that pleather leather jacket on top. That's right, let's do it all together. That's right, we gotta sniff if it's leather or pleather. That's right, just shut the hell up. Who gives a crap what it is? It looks fantastic. That's all that matters. It has a nice fit to it. It didn't hinder the articulation, as I mentioned. And how could you have Rogue without that classic brown leather jacket? The answer is you can't. Ultimately, of the 2 face sculpts, I'm going to go with that other classic look. Not the weird did coke and bought a lizard look, but that classic stoic look. And I will say I am very, very excited for Soosoo Toys to continue to dip their feet in the X-Men world. I know a lot of us want to continue and expand on our X-Men collection. And well, the options out there are basically slim to none. So Soosoo Toys, I would say, capitalize on that market now, especially before the X-Men start to make their way into the Marvel and the MCU, because Hot Toys is probably going to be all over it. So as far as a score on this figure, what comes to mind is an 8.2 out of 10. I think this is an absolute welcomed addition to anybody's collection, especially if you are an X-Men collector. And well, with that said, if you're an X-Men collector, you'd be crazy not to get this piece. Decent price point, so get this piece now before it's sold out, unless it already has, because this is the classic of classic characters that you have to have in your X-Men collection. So, if I already didn't say it, with an 8.2 out of 10, and a great release by Soosoo Toys, I highly suggest this piece. Balance and issues aside, little dots on the boobies aside, I think this is a great, amazing piece that will really stand out in your collection. So, we're going to go ahead and catch you guys next time at KCToyreviews with Rogue, aka Anna Marie, by Soosoo Toys. And Soosoo Toys, I cannot wait for Old Man Logan. Catch you guys next time. X-Men out.